Welcome back to the Profit Builder Unscripted. I'm super excited you're here. And today we're going to be talking about how do you invest in time and energy into training your team so that they can really be their best versions of themselves and be successful at actually taking ownership in their jobs. All right, let's jump in. If you're a leader or manager who struggles with all the decisions in your business go through you, or that you are micromanaging people all the time, or you're a constant firefighter, those are signs that there's something that needs to shift. And that was the sign for me that I needed to make a change in my business, because I found that I was spending my time doing so many things that, one, I just like, A, was not fun, B, wasn't really the best application for my skills and talent, wasn't where my business needed me most, and C, that I wasn't really utilizing the capability of my team in its best way. And I realized that if I was going to grow, I needed to make some changes. And this is a topic I talk with people about all the time. I've been teaching people for years about how do you build cultures of accountability? How do you get your team to take more ownership? And so I started to, I took on this big project recently where I was like, okay, I'm going to have my team take on this project and ask them to take ownership of it. And I've been sharing in the last several podcasts about things I've been learning along the way. And in this final clip around my learning in this project, my learning in this last week has been mostly around what can we do in order to begin having better tools to train our teams to be more successful at what it is that we want to do. So, we all know that effort and desire does not necessarily mean a great result. And if we want to create great results, we need to actually give people the tools and the training that they need to be able to be successful. So what was my learning this week? This week's learning had to do with realizing that, so Dortha's running this project. She's awesome. And she has a lot of desire. She has a lot of willingness to do whatever it takes. She has this incredible ability to hold on to many different pieces all at one time and keep moving the ball rolling. But we agreed that we were going to start using the Trello board, which is a tool that we use for project management, and put this whole project in there and have it be able to keep us all on the same page. So there's three to four of us. There's four of us key people who are working on this project together. And what I realized last week, and then again at the beginning of this week, was I go look at the Trello board and I was not clear. I was kind of confused. I was like, I'm not clear about where we are. And what I had noticed in this last week was we were having to have more and more conversations about where we were on the project. Maybe you can relate to that, right? Like, where all of a sudden you notice that you're having all these conversations or all these meetings in order to stay informed. And I'm like, but our tool should be able to do that. And what was missing? And so when Dorothy and I met earlier this week, I had sent her an email and I said, I need you to walk me through the Trello board and where things are at, because I know you're using it, but I'm having a hard time when I go in there to know where we are and to get up to date with where things are, or any deliverables that I have. I'm having a hard time kind of staying connected with it and knowing where things are actually at. And so as we started to talk, it turned out that she was using it more like a to-do list than necessarily as a project management board. And then all of a sudden the lights went on for me and I was like, oh, that was a missing from our conversation about how we're setting up the Trello board. But more importantly, I don't think that we've spent a lot of time actually teaching how to use the Trello board as a tool. We have oftentimes used it for different things that were already sort of in process, like a checklist. but we've not actually used it very well, she and I, in terms of having it be a project management tool. And it just made me realize that, I think that for us as leaders, that when we're attempting to put change in place with our teams, investing time and energy in teaching them and training them on the tools is critically important, so that it doesn't just become like another task to do, or for, in her case, like a to-do list of things to do that wasn't really helping she and I like stay at 30,000 feet to be able to know, like, all right, like what's happening. And it made me think of, for you as a contractor, if you're using co-construct or job tread or builder trend, like how often is it that, like, oh, we do this in there, we do this in there, we do this in there, but do people actually understand how to use it as a project management tool? And one of the key pieces of feedback for me, because one of the things I've really tried to do in this process is to notice when breakdowns show up. I try to ask myself the question, all right, what was the source of the breakdown? Like, what was missing at the front end that caused that to happen at the back end? And the thing that I was noticing, as I said, was I was starting to have all these meetings, and we had all these check-ins and all these emails. I'm like, wait, like, I'm still in the middle of it. That's not, like, I should be able to look at the Trello board. I should be able to, like, we should have more elevation from the minutia, and we're not using that tool very effectively. So there's something different that has to happen at the front end. Oh, we need to do more training. We need to talk about what does it mean to set up a project, and a project, in the Trello board, so that we can be more efficient in how we're actually using it, and be more efficient with each other in our time. And that for me, when I have deliverables, I know what they are, and I know I can go in there, and the same thing for her, but that it keeps us on a path. And so for you, one of the things that, if you're looking to have your team take more ownership and you've given them the tools, the question I would have for you is, have you trained them in the tools? Are you investing in training that's actually helping them really manage from 30,000 feet all those critical elements that will let them keep their finger on the pulse of what they're doing? Well, sometimes it's just teaching people to think differently, and then also using tools to help them manage differently. And so that's kind of the learning that we're in the middle of. And she and I both agreed, okay, we need to shift some things around, and we're learning, we're growing together, and we'll continue to do so. And that's the other thing. It's just, I realize, like, as leaders, that's our job. That's our continual process. Is our greatest job as leaders is to build great people around us and empower people around us. And empowering people is so much more than just, hey, I give you the responsibility, I trust you, go for it, do it. But it's a multi thing, right? It's training, it's being clear on expectations, it's managing by results, it's having clear outcomes, it's all of those things, and being able to have hard conversations. And I've talked about all of those things in these last several podcasts, as I've been growing and learning in this journey of developing my team. And I hope that you have found some value in this. I hope that you have learned some things along the way too that have been helpful for you. If you have something that you have as a great learning as a leader, as a business owner, if there's some learning that you have had that's been really powerful in helping you grow your business, grow yourself to the next level as a leader, that's helped your team grow, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what your story is. I think there's such power in stories, and us being able to share our experiences with each other, and to learn and grow with each other. And I would love to interview. I'd love to talk with you and hear what it is that you have to say. And I'd love for you to share your story, because there's so much power in us being able to hear other people's experiences. We're so hard on ourselves, and we think that we have to have had it figured out, or figure it out on our own, or we don't want to go ask for help, or we don't want to admit that we're not, that we don't have it all together. And I think sometimes when we hear other people's stories, especially people who we perceive as like they got it all together, we didn't wake up this way one day. Like we've learned, we grow, we're always growing. And so I would love for you to be willing to reach out to me if you have a story to share about your own growth and learning. That would just be awesome. You can reach me at Vicki@suterbusinessbuilders.com. My contact information is below. And yeah, and also check out, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, or make sure to check out the other resources below. And I look forward to seeing you next time on the Profit Builder Unscripted.